We were discussing Thomson scattering, that is the scattering of electromagnetic waves by free charge. And as I have told you earlier that we will complete uh, this concept in two lectures, and our first lecture has been completed. So this is actually the second part of the same lecture, and so we must see what we have learned in the first part of this lecture. So for your convenience, I have mentioned here the final result which we have actually obtained in the first part of this lecture. We have seen in the first part of this lecture that we have considered a plane polarized electromagnetic wave, and that electromagnetic wave get scattered by a free point charge, that may be an electron, that may be a proton, and after that, doing calculation, we have obtained actually two important results for the differential scattering cross section. So you can see those two results here. The first result was differential scattering cross section d sigma by d omega equal to r naught square sine square theta. You can recognize what is this angle theta. Actually this angle is the angle between the x-axis, that is the electric field vector, and the scattered direction. And the second result was 1 over r naught square d sigma by d omega equal to cos square phi. In fact, here this r naught, which is equal to q square over 4 pi epsilon naught mc square, this is actually the classical radius of our scatterer, that is you can say electron or proton. I have although mentioned here only electron, but this in general you can say is the classical radius of the charged particle which is responsible for this scattering, and phi is the angle of scattering. Now as this result has been obtained for plane polarized electromagnetic wave, where we have considered that the wave propagation is taking place in z direction and its electric field vector was oscillating in x direction. But now we want to find these results in case of the unpolarized electromagnetic wave. Actually, the Thomson formula for scattering is obtained for the case of unpolarized electromagnetic waves. So, for getting the result for differential scattering cross section for unpolarized electromagnetic waves, let us see this figure. You know, in case of an unpolarized wave, the electric field vector oscillates in the wave almost in all possible directions. So, as the electric field vector has not a particular orientation in a particular direction, as we have assumed in case of the plane polarized wave, we have assumed that the electric field is oscillating in x direction. So definitely in this case we must take an average over all orientations of the plane of electric field vector E. And so in this figure I have considered that the electric field vector E is in general oscillating in a direction AB. You can see this figure, this direction AB, and this direction is making an angle psi with x-axis. So we will actually take average over all possible values of this psi. So see this figure. Actually I have assumed that AB is the direction of electric field vector in another wave incident on the particle. And as I have told you, this psi is the angle between the electric field vector, or you can say AB, and the x-axis. Now I have considered that P is a field point. When you say field point, it means this is just a test point where actually our calculation will be made. And this plane you can see, which I have shown in this figure by this shaded region, this is POB, and this plane is drawn actually perpendicular to the plane containing this AB. And so from geometry of this figure, first of all, we will change our expression for differential scattering cross section in terms of psi, and then we will take actually the average over all possible values of psi. So there will be a lot of algebra here, and you can understand each and every step by applying the simple geometry from this figure. So let us try to find the value of this term sine square theta in terms of phi and psi. So how we will actually change this parameter theta to psi? Let us see this figure and try to find it. So you can see from this figure that if we want to calculate this cos theta, see here, this angle is theta, and QBP, this is a right angle triangle because this angle is actually pi by 2, because this is a plane which is perpendicular to AB. POB is a plane perpendicular to AB. So from this figure we can easily see that this cos theta will be equal to what? You can see that this is simply BQ over OP, and I have assumed this BQ over not OP but QP, BQ over QP, and BQ I would like to find it, and QP you can see this is R. So you can say that this BQ is equal to R cos theta, let us say. Now we will again try to find the value of this BQ from this geometry of figure in terms of phi and psi. And for that, let us first of all calculate what will be this cos psi. See this figure. Again you can say that this angle is 90 degree. When you will take angle up to this, actually this plane is just a horizontal plane, and so this cos psi will be equal to BQ over QO, and so you can say that this BQ is equal to QO cos psi, PQ equal to QO cos psi. Now I would like to find the value of this QO, and for that you can see what will be this angle. See this, actually this total angle from here to here is 90 degree, that is pi by 2, and this is angle of a scattering phi. So this angle will be in fact pi by 2 minus pi. So from the triangle OPQ you can find the value of cos pi by 2 minus pi. So see this figure, cos pi by 2 minus phi. What will be this? You can see this will be simply QO over QP, and this can be written as QO over R. And so what will be this QO? You can see this QO will be R cos this much, and cos pi by 2 minus phi is sin phi, so you can write this is R sin phi. So now let us put this value of QO, which is equal to R sin phi, in this equation for BQ. So I am writing it in above, so you can see that this BQ will be now equal to what? This will be QO cos psi, but QO is R sin phi, so this will be R sin phi times cos psi. r sine phi times cos psi. Say this is equation 2. So you can see here that we have obtained the value of BQ in terms of theta in equation 1, which is r cos theta, and we have also obtained the value of same BQ in terms of the angles phi and psi in this equation 2, which is r sine phi cos psi. So you can equate these two equations easily, and so I would now start to write these calculations in a proper way, and then we will modify the expression for the differential scattering cross section which we have obtained for the plane polarized wave. What will be that in case of unpolarized wave? So you can see. So from the above calculation we can say that r cos theta is equal to what? R sine phi times cos psi. You can see this is your r cos theta, which is equal to BQ, and this is r sine phi cos psi, which is also equal to BQ. So we have actually equated these two equations. Now this r and this r will actually cancel out, and our result will be what? This is cos theta equal to what? Sine phi times cos psi. Now let us square this equation both sides. You will get cos square theta equal to sine square phi times cos square psi. Cos square psi. And equivalently you may write this expression in this way. See here. First of all, we will calculate the value of this sine square theta, because in our expression there is actually sine square theta. So first of all we should calculate the value of sine square theta. So see here. Now sine square theta. Why we are calculating this sine square theta? Because you can see the expression for the differential scattering cross section actually contains sine square theta. So first of all I would like to calculate the value of this sine square theta in terms of phi and psi. So this sine square theta, you know, it is equal to 1 minus cos square theta, and since cos square theta is this much, so you can write this is 1 minus sine square phi times cos square psi. Sine square phi times cos square psi. In fact, till now in RHS you can see there are two angles phi and psi, and our aim is to take the average value of this sine square theta in case of unpolarized light for all possible orientations of electric field vector. And electric field vector's orientation is actually governed by this angle psi. So we will take the average for all possible values of psi, but this angle phi is also present, so definitely we should change this term sine square phi in terms of cos phi. And so you can see this will be what? This is 1 minus cos square psi, and sine square phi, this can be written as 1 minus cos square phi, not sine. Sine is already present, so we can write it 1 minus cos square phi. This is cos square phi. And now we will take the average for all possible values of psi. So you can say averaging over all psi. What we will get, you can see. When you will take an average for all possible values of psi, then the average value of sine square theta, I am writing it like this, this is its average value, and that will be equal to 1 minus average value of cos square phi, cos square, sorry, cos is not cos square phi, but see here, this is cos square psi, not phi. So this will be cos square psi, cos square psi, and times 1 minus cos square phi. Now you know what is the average value of cos square psi. You can see actually minimum value of cos square psi is 0 and its maximum value is 1. So its average value will be actually equal to 1 over 2. So at the place of the average value of this cos square psi, we will write 1 over 2 and times 1 minus cos square phi. Now you can do the simple algebra. This will be 1 minus 1 over 2 plus 1 over 2 cos square phi, and 1 minus 1 by 2, this is 1 by 2, so take this 1 by 2 common, and this will be 1 plus cos square phi. So we have obtained the average value of this sine square theta for all possible values of psi, which determines actually the orientation of our electric field vector in case of the unpolarized wave. So this value which we have obtained for sine square theta, now we will substitute it in the expression for the differential scattering cross section which we have defined in this equation A. And then actually this formula for differential scattering cross section will be for the case of unpolarized electromagnetic wave. So you can put it in this equation A. So differential scattering cross section, differential scattering cross section in case of unpolarized EM waves, unpolarized EM waves. I am writing again the symbol d sigma by d omega, but this is the differential scattering cross section in case of unpolarized EM wave. And as you know, the formula is what? This will be R naught square and average value of sine square theta. But you know the average value of this sine square theta is this much. So let us substitute this value here. So this will be R naught square over 2 times 1 plus cos square phi, 1 plus cos square phi. And so this is the final result for the differential scattering cross section in case of you can say the unpolarized EM wave. Actually this formula can be put into another in convenient form. So you may write this like 1 over R naught square d sigma by d omega, and this equal to 1 over 2 times 1 plus cos square phi. You can recognize the difference when actually the wave was polarized. Then you have seen that this quantity 1 over r naught square d sigma by d omega is simply equal to cos square phi. But now it is equal to 1 over 2 times 1 plus cos square phi. Actually, this formula which has been defined in this equation C or D, these are not two different formula, these are same. So this formula is actually known as a scattering formula of radiation due to Thomson. So you can say this is Thomson's formula for a scattering cross section. There is no need to say differential scattering cross section. You can say simply a scattering cross section. Now see these two formula and what informations we can gather from this formula. Let us see it. Actually, this formula will be applicable only when the particle which is responsible for this scattering is free. But how you can say that a particle is free? Actually, this particle is free or not, it depends on the nature of the electromagnetic wave and the nature of the particle. Let us say there is an electron. You know, the electron has a smaller rest mass. If you express this rest mass in terms of energy, that is m naught c square, then this m naught c square, this is m naught c square, see here, m naught c square. You know the rest mass energy of electron is only 0.51 mega electron volt. So you can say its rest mass is 0.51 mega electron volt per c square. This is a very small rest mass. So in this case, actually the radiation like X-ray on the quantum theory, you can say the X-ray photon has an energy which is much greater than this m naught c square. So if X-ray will be incident on this electron, then this electron will behave just like a free particle. Although when you say photon, this is quantum behavior, not wave theory, but you can understand it in terms of the quantum theory too. So if energy of the photon, which you write h nu, is much greater than the rest mass energy, then the particle is called free. Particle is free. So free means when its rest mass is smaller than the striking photon. So an electron behaves just like a free particle if the incident radiation is X-ray. So for X-ray, the target is electron. But if you consider that there is a proton here, see, this is a proton, then this proton, you know, has a rest mass energy or rest mass equal to 938 mega electron volt. In fact, this is a very large mass in comparison to the mass of the electron. So this proton does not behave like a free particle if X-ray will be incident on it. But when the gamma radiation strikes this proton, then gamma photon is much more energetic than the X-ray photon. So in that case, this proton will behave like a free particle. So you can say for gamma radiation, the target may be proton. Target may be proton. So you can use this formula to calculate the differential scattering cross section. If the target is electron, you may use the radiation X-ray, but if your target is like a particle proton, then you must use the radiation like gamma radiation, and then this formula will be applicable. So, and this angle phi, as which have actually appear in this formula, as I have told you, this is actually angle of scattering, and this factor you can see in this formula 1/2 1 plus cos square phi. This factor is actually called polarization factor. In this formula, the factor 1/2 1 plus cos square phi, this is called polarization factor because it measures the degree of polarization. So this is called polarization factor. Now, what informations we can gather from this scattering formula due to Thomson, you can see easily. So from formula, you can see formula C or D, both are same, C or D. First of all, C. In RHS of these two formula, the frequency omega of the radiation is not present. So you can easily say that the differential scattering cross section or the scattering of electromagnetic wave does not depend on the frequency of the wave. So first information we gather it from this formula is what? That the scattering of EM wave is independent of frequency omega of the wave. This is a very remarkable fact that this scattering of EM wave does not depend on the frequency of the EM wave. But just converse of it, you can see this scattering cross section depends on R0. And what is this R0? You have seen this is classical radius of the scattering of the particle which is responsible for the scattering. And you have seen what is the expression for this R0. See here, R0 is equal to this much, and so you can see this R0 depends on the charge of the particle Q and mass of the particle M. So this scattering of electromagnetic wave actually depends on the nature of the scatterer. So you can say that this depends on the nature of the charged particle or the scatterer. So scattering depends on the nature. When you say nature, it means Q and M of the scatterer. Again, the another remarkable fact or information which we can gather from this formula, you can see easily that as the scattering cross section depends on phi, and phi may have any value between 0 and pi. So this cos square phi will be actually maximum when cos square phi is maximum. Maximum means equal to 1, and it will be 1 only when phi is either 0 or pi, because cos 0 is 1, so cos square phi will be 1, and cos pi will be minus 1. So after squaring, that will become plus 1. So you can say this cos square phi is maximum, that is equal to 1 when phi is either 0 or pi. So what will be actually the maximum value of this d sigma by d omega? You can see d sigma by d omega max. For this we will simply take cos square phi equal to 1. And so you can see this formula, when you will take this equal to 1, so this will be 2 and this 2 will cancel out, and this will be actually equal to simply r0 square. So you can say that the maximum value of differential scattering cross section is simply equal to a square of the classical radius of our scatterer, and this result also shows that the scattering occurs in all directions, that is in almost in all direction, but it will be maximum when phi is 0 and minimum when phi is 0 or pi. And what will be its minimum value? You know, cos square phi minimum will be what? In fact, this will be 0, because any square has the minimum value equal to 0, and if it is 0, what does it mean? What will be phi? This phi will be actually equal to pi by 2 or 3 pi by 2. Pi by 2 or 3 pi by 2. So the scattering in forward direction, when you say phi equal to 0, it means forward direction. Phi equal to 0 implies forward direction. Forward direction. And phi equal to pi means backward direction. Forward means in the direction of incident wave, backward means in opposite direction of the incident wave. So in these two directions, the scattering is most probable. Probability of scattering will be in fact maximum. So these are the directions of maximum scattering, and phi equal to pi by 2 and phi equal to 3 pi by 2. In these two directions, actually scattering will be minimum. So minimum scattering. Minimum scattering. So finally we say that scattering occurs in all directions, but it is maximum when phi is equal to 0 or pi, that is in forward direction or in backward direction, but it is minimum when phi is equal to pi by 2 or 3 pi by 2. So this is the final conclusion of this result. Now you can see the another important property from a graphical plot. We will actually plot the a graph of this scattering cross section in against of the value of phi, and in case of both polarized wave and unpolarized wave. So let us see this graphical plot here, and from that graph all these things will be clear to you. So let us see this graph. This is just graphical plot of the scattering cross section in against of phi. So you can see from the nature of that equation what will be actually the curve obtained after plotting it. So let us take the value of phi on this axis. Sorry, this is pi. This will be pi. On this axis, and take here phi equal to 0, here phi equal to pi by 2, and here phi equal to pi. And on this axis we will note the value of 1 over r naught square d sigma by d omega. We will note it. So you can see when actually phi is 0, then you have seen just now that at phi equal to 0, we have seen that this scattering cross section is maximum, and that will be equal to r naught square, but I have taken here r naught, so the value, maximum value, will be equal to 1. And when phi is equal to pi by 2, then you have seen actually that the scattering cross section is 0 in both of the cases. You can compare the result of the plane polarized wave and the unpolarized wave. So, and again at phi equal to pi, this scattering cross section becomes maximum. So the graphical plot of this in case of the unpolarized wave will be like this. This is actually the case of this is actually the curve for plane polarized. And take this line at a value 1 over 2. So you can see when actually phi is equal to pi by 2, then what will be this 1 over r naught square d sigma by d omega. What will be this? You can see here, since now phi will be equal to cos square phi will be equal to 0, so this will be simply 1 by 2. So the value of this 1 over r naught square d sigma by d omega, this will be 1 by 2 in case of the unpolarized wave. So you can see this curve will be like this. This is unpolarized wave. So you can see this curve is actually symmetric about phi equal to pi by 2. So this is the graphical plot in case of polarized and unpolarized wave. Now after these discussions on differential scattering cross section, we will now actually find what will be the total scattering cross section. So now let us try to find the total scattering cross section. Total scattering cross section. As I have told you in the introductory lecture that whenever we have to calculate total scattering cross section, we simply integrate the differential scattering cross section for all possible values of the solid angle. So you know that d sigma by d omega, this is differential scattering cross section, and this d sigma by d omega is known as differential scattering cross section. Differential scattering cross section. Now the total scattering cross section, we denote it by sigma. You can see this sigma can be written as integral of d sigma, and this can be written as d sigma by d omega d omega. You may write it. Now you can see in case of in fact unpolarized wave, what is the value of this differential scattering cross section? You have seen just now. This is simply r naught square over 2 times 1 plus cos square phi. This is d sigma by d omega. And you know this solid angle, the angle subtended by this surface area ds at this point, let us say is d omega and this distance is r, then in fact when we find this d omega, this d omega is simply equal to 2 pi sine phi d phi. This is d omega. And now take the constant factor outside, so you can see this pi r naught square will be outside of the integral. This 2 and this 2 will cancel out, and our result will be integral sine phi plus cos square phi sine phi d phi. Now we will put the limit here 0 to pi, and this is just a simple integration, you can do it. This is pi r naught square times integral 0 to pi sine phi d phi, and you can write minus integral cos square phi d cos phi. See here, this is 0 to pi. Actually this d cos phi will be what? That will be minus sine phi d phi. But here is plus sign, so we have simply put here minus so that it will become plus. So you can write this integral cos square phi sine phi d phi like this, cos square phi d cos phi. And so now integrate these two integrals, so you can see this will be simply minus cos phi, and here the formula used for the integral of x to the power n dx, which is x n plus 1 over n plus 1 will be utilized. Here at the place of x there is cos phi, and at the place of n there is 2. So you can see this will be simply minus cos cube phi over 3, and limits are 0 and pi. Now you can put the limit and simplify it. I am actually writing directly the expression, you can do the algebra. So you can see after calculation that this sigma will be equal to 8 pi over 3 into r naught square. This is, say, equation A1. This is the expression for the total scattering cross section in case of the unpolarized wave. But if we want to calculate the total scattering cross section in case of plane polarized wave, we will simply use the formula for the differential scattering cross section in that case. So in case of plane polarized wave, when we will calculate this sigma, what will be this? This will be d sigma by d omega. But you know, in this case actually this d sigma by d omega is equal to what? This is equal to simply r naught square cos square phi, and this d omega is, let us write it first of all, d omega. So now this will be r naught square integral cos square phi times d omega, and you know d omega is what? This is 2 pi sine phi d phi. So take this in constant term outside, so this will be 0 to pi, and now this is 2 pi r naught square integral 0 to pi and cos square phi and you can write it d cos phi, but for that we must put here minus, because this d cos phi will be equal to minus sin phi d phi. So to remove the minus sign we must put here minus, and so this will be minus 2 pi r naught square, and this is cos cube phi over 3, and limits will be 0 to pi. Now put the limit, and after putting the limit you will simply see that this is 4 pi over 3 r naught square. So you can compare these two results. If we denote this scattering cross section by the symbol, let us say sigma prime, to differentiate it from this sigma, then you can see that this sigma prime is simply equal to sigma over 2. So in fact, in case of the plane polarized wave, the total scattering cross section is just half of the case of unpolarized wave. And you can also see that this total scattering cross section is actually depends only on this classical radius of our scatterer. So in this way we have obtained the total scattering cross section and the differential scattering cross section. Actually this formula which I have mentioned here in this equation A1 is known as Thomson scattering cross section. This is known as Thomson scattering cross section. So after these two lectures on Thomson scattering, we have calculated the quantities of our interest, and I hope you have understand all these things clearly. So after this Thomson scattering, in next lecture we will meet together to discuss another scattering by actually a bound charge, and that is called actually Rayleigh scattering.